I was so sulked with that one.
That was the best
We're starting
we could
point
do.
here lately.
Yes. Okay. So, Carly.
Jess.
You recently posted about singlehood. How is that going for you?
It's not. To be honest, I mean, that's kind of why I wanted to do the blog about it, was so that I could kind of blog my journey through being single, because
And then post your wedding photos.
Girl, it's a rough world. Listen, I don't know what I'm doing with my life these days, but that I do know that I am trying to blog about it, so we'll see
It's
how
the
it goes.
healthiest way to handle it.
Right? Putting it out there for the rest of the world to read. So healthy.
We will laugh at your pain.
You know, it happens. I laugh at my pain, so I joke about my dead sister, so it's kind of how it goes, right?
At least you can laugh about it.
Hey, I'm healed.
That's good. Praise the Lord.
Not being upset about it and come bring her back. She'd rather me joke about it. She was crazy.
Well, you were pretty much your sister's twin.
Yes, I was.
So
I'm in Jessica.
So back to your non-existent dating
Yes.
life.
Yes.
You made a comment. We recently were texting about a dream that you had.
Yeah.
Just brief synopsis of that dream. You don't have to go into details.
I was looking at a house with someone. I don't know if I was engaged to them, but I felt like I was, because I would not live with someone before I was married to them. But we brought people to this house, and in my dream I had deja vu, which is like the weirdest feeling ever. Like, I'd seen the house before. But anyways, we were talking about the house and like how we were going to do it, and there were like 3 places for a kitchen, and we decided we were going to put the kitchen upstairs. And so it was really, me and him were really interestingly like discussing, and he was like telling everyone how proud he was of me, and like how I like picked out a house and was like doing all of the details for it and how it was going to be set up. So it was really a weird dream, but I liked it. I was in a relationship
for like 6 hours of your
right
sleeping life, you were in a relationship.
It's funny how dreams work, because you dream, I don't know how long a dream cycle lasts, but you dream for that long, but then you like talk about it, and you're like, yeah, I had this really weird dream. Like 3 minutes later, everyone's like, yeah, it's really interesting. Thanks for sharing. But yeah, that was my relationship dream. And so I made a comment to Jordan that it was really hard to have dreams about being in a relationship when you're not in a relationship, because you're trying to be content, and you're trying to be like, well, if singlehood is the season, then I need to enjoy the season that I'm in. And so to be reminded that you're not with someone else is really difficult, especially at my age, and with all of my friends are getting married and being involved in relationships, and that's difficult to see happen. But then I also have friends who are still single, so I guess that's kind of nice, because I do have some really close friends who are still single, so we can solidarity sister. But that's my life story right now.
Beautiful.
It's just trying to be content in my season and not try to rush it.
I mean, when you say content, what do you mean
Celibacy,
content?
or
Like, never being married, like, you're not gonna pursue a relationship, you're so content in your singlehood, or you're just content enough to be okay with where you're at right now?
And I answered her that, and because she said, let's keep it simple so that you can...
I really wanted to talk about her singlehood for the blog.
What is that called? So I could expound
Yes.
on it now. My friend Mandy, shout out to Mandy. Mandy, if you see this, you know I'm talking about you.
Hey, Mandy.
When I was in Bible school, I went to a children and family. I was there for a semester for children and family. But she taught, we had to come up with these like scenario things that we would teach on, and about families and stuff like that. I don't really remember the whole thing. It was a really rough semester. But anyway, so one thing that she said that has stuck with me since she had said it was that in the, let me pull it up so that I can quote it directly.
Pause.
Wouldn't that be nice if we could just say?
Yeah, for real it is.
Okay, it's Proverbs 18:22, and it says, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing." And her point was that for him to find a wife and for it to be a good thing, you have to be a good thing. Does that make sense? So, like, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. So we need to be waiting to be found, but in the midst of our waiting to be found, we need to be a good thing. So we need to be pushing forward and like finding out who we are in and of ourselves, and not waiting on a man to find us and for us to just be wallowing in our singleness and like, oh, I'm so single. And so that's something that stuck with me, that she said it. And so that's kind of where I've been, where I'm not the pursuer, I'm the pursued. And so when whoever he is, comes along, that will fall into place, that he will pursue me, and I'm just going to be doing what I need to be doing. I'm going to be living life and pursuing a relationship with the Lord and being obedient in that, which has been difficult since I've moved home, but not impossible. So just learning to be a good thing and to learn how to wait and to be patient, because I am not. I have younger siblings, and they can tell you all about how I have no patience. So for me, that is one thing that I've just kind of stood upon. Like, my mom always asks, and I'm like, I'm just being a good thing at this point. I'm just learning how to be a good thing and to be found, and not feel like I need to go seek this person or this thing out, because I know people who've done that, and I know people who are sad and unhappy in relationships, but they made that choice to be in a relationship that wasn't for them, that was premature. And I did talk about that in my blog a little bit, and I do want to expound on that. But for the most part, just me personally learning how to be a good thing and to wait.
So let me make sure that we clarify here two things. I have one, I guess both of them are questions. First one, you're saying you're making a statement separate from the whole teaching that our generation, or girls who are our age, grew up learning that if we had to be, if we were not pursuing God, if we were not right with the Lord, then He was not going to bring that relationship. So you're not
no,
like, it didn't sound like it, but I just want to clarify for everybody else, you are not preaching that message.
I don't personally think that you will ever be in the right place at the right time for a relationship. I think this is two imperfect people coming together and trying to make a relationship work. So no, you're never going to be in a spot where you're like, yes, now I am ready to be in a relationship, because really you're never ready.
Well, and the fact is that we are never going to have a perfect relationship with God.
Right.
You know, we are always going to be struggling, because we are human. We're always going to be struggling to have that.
Right.
Because that's why we have to continue to pursue Him every day.
Right.
So, I mean, that's not even real.
Yeah.
So
that's an expectation that won't be met.
So you're not preaching that
not
message at all. Secondly, my question is, you made the comment about, you are not the pursuer but the pursued, and that you were just working on being the good thing. Would you ever, though, like, initiate anything with someone, or like kind of explain that?
I guess honestly it depends on who you are as a person, and I know that feminism has kind of forged that whole, like, we need to go out and get what we want, and yes, you do to an extent, but you also need to learn that you are precious and you are a treasure, and in that you don't have to give yourself to every single person that walks into your life. Okay. And you don't have to be out there in front of everyone all the time. I think that we need to, the Bible says not to cast pearls before swine, and we need to learn that we are pearls and some people in this world are swine, and we don't have to put ourselves before them, that we can wait, and you can sit home on a Saturday night and not do anything, and that be okay. you don't have to be out doing all of this stuff with all of these people. Like, you can be home and be content in that and not always on blast, like a walking billboard for yourself. You don't have to do that. And I guess it depends with the, like, pursuing someone. I would never say that a girl should pursue a guy. I just don't believe that way because I personally am not that way, so I don't know what it would be to be something else. But I would say that flirting is a very dangerous game to play, and if you're not ready for a relationship, then you shouldn't be flirting with people. But I guess definitely if you like somebody, maybe having that conversation with them, because I think that's an adult thing to do.
Yeah. Is
to sit someone down and be like, hey, you know, I guess if they're returning the same kind of vibes, because you don't want to sit someone down and be like, hey, I like you, and be like, no, never.
It's awkward.
But if you feel like they may, sitting them down and talking about it like adults, and then walking away from that situation like adults. And if that's not something, if they're just that way, then you being like, okay, well then let's be friends and we'll move on from this. I feel like I'm rambling, but
no,
that's just
good.
kind of how I feel about it. I personally feel like you should be pursued as a girl, because I think that's what guys are built for. They're built for the chase. They're built for the hunt, and we're just sitting here looking like cuties.
I'm kind of on. I agree with, you know, being pursued, but also there does come a point when you have to reciprocate that pursuit more than just.
Well,
in my opinion, more than just expressing.
If someone's showing interest in you and has said, like, hey, I like you, then being in a relationship with someone, not being, like, coy and, like, hard to get, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
But if someone has shown interest in you and you like them back, then, you know, being friends and going deeper in that. But if you don't like them, please tell them. Don't friend zone them and make them feel awkward. Just be like, listen, this is never going to happen.
But sometimes you can't help but friend zone them because you have no idea.
Well, at our age, I feel like you should be able to handle it. I mean, I understand if you're a teenager, then it's a little bit different because you just don't know how to deal with that. And some people can't take a hint.
Well, I friend zoned a lot of people because I was never looking for a relationship in high school. So I think that's why
there's that too.
I think that's why it was easy for me to friend zone a lot of guys because I was just. I mean, I definitely loved to flirt, but I wasn't looking for a dating relationship.
So that's why it's dangerous to flirt, because you lead people to think that you want some, and
then you don't.
Like, I don't want none. But it's a really fine line.
Yeah, it's not like any of those guys ever. I mean, there may be like one or two that ever expressed, but they all were friends with my brother, so it just kind of didn't. It just one of the it was one of those things.
Yeah.
So, anyways, thank you, Carly, for sharing that insightful delight. I don't share your pain because I only ever dang it, and I'm back. I only ever dated Clark, and we started dating sometime before we turned 19.
I've never been on a date.
You haven't?
Nope. Never. Ever.
Well, now we've got to work on getting you prepared for this date.
Okay.
Somehow.
I can do that.
Even though... Are you even talking to guys right now?
No. I haven't talked to a boy in, like... Besides your brother and Clark. I haven't talked to a boy I'm related to in, like, weeks.
Okay, well...